So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. So we all know the story of YUL, May and Judy. YUL and May were married under the Act, I must add. Yes, a statutory marriage existed between the both of them. They had a court wedding in addition to other marriages, and they were married for about 20 years. They had 4 kids, practicing Catholics, and just like many young couples, they started from little beginnings and grew up, built themselves together. One cannot forget in a hurry how YUL would take to social media to heap accolades on his wife May, attributing his success to her, praising her for being that woman that held it down for him even when he had little, that loyal, supportive wife who never pressured or nagged him. And we were up for it. So it was a very huge shock to many when YUL took to his Instagram page, his verified account, to announce that he had welcomed a child with his second wife. And people are like, how? So it turned out that YUL had secretly married his colleague, Judy, who was a divorcee with 2 kids, and they had welcomed a son. So many mouths in the industry claim that Judy and YUL had been in this amorous affair for a very long time. It wasn't of recent origin. They had been dating for years, and somehow they convinced themselves that their relationship, their affair, should progress to marriage, despite YUL had a legal, legitimate wife. In fact, his wife May is said to have been totally unaware of the whole thing. The child, the marriage, everything. She was just in the dark as every other person, and she got to find out of that incident on the internet just as you and I. So one can only imagine her shock and sheer disbelief. Even more shocking was the fact that YUL's family, his father, his brothers, every member of his family denied having accompanied him to take another wife. They denied being a part of any other wedding or marriage aside that was consummated with May. So the question was, who followed YUL to marry this other woman? So when this news hit the internet, a lot of people felt really sorry for May. Not because she's the first and only woman whose husband has pulled this kind of stunt on, but because of her sheer ignorance in all that was happening right under her nose. The deceit, the way her marriage had progressed from little beginnings to what it was, how she had stayed quiet at the back end, keeping the home front down while projecting her husband, letting her husband have the limelight while she took care of him and home. It wasn't like they were Muslims. It wasn't like she had married a Muslim man. It wasn't like polygamy was clearly stated as part of the deal. They were in a monogamous Catholic marriage. It sure was much more and totally away from what she bargained for. So when this news broke out, a lot of people were anticipating her reaction, but she didn't react, at least not aggressively or brazenly. She put out a statement explaining that she is not a party to her husband's new arrangement. She insisted that she will not be numbered as a wife, as polygamy was never part of the discussion or agreement at any time of that marriage. Now, I am building on this case and how it has accumulated to today's update, and how it has climaxed to this legal battle and court case that we are being confronted with now. But before we proceed, let me introduce to us something that I'm very certain that we will love. Many of you guys follow me because you love crime series and law and mystery and suspense. And since that is your thing, June's Journey will certainly be your thing too. June's Journey is an interesting hidden object mystery game where you play detective trying to solve a murder. So thrilling. This game would challenge you, but not in a stressful way, in a light, relaxing, and enjoyable fashion. It is a free to download mobile game where you find objects hidden in beautifully designed scenes. You can also customize, redesign, and fix your mansion and garden island. This game brings out the lawyer in me trying to demystify crime, and I know that you will love it too. So please download this game for free from the link in my description box. You can also do so via the QR code showing on my screen. Scan the code. This game is available on Android, iOS, and PC through Facebook Games. So thank you June's Journey for sponsoring this video. Go ahead and download, guys, and thank me later. So back to May and YUL and how this court case began. So yes, May went ahead to issue that statement, but she didn't do anything particularly to detach herself from her husband, at least to the knowledge of the public. She didn't institute divorce proceedings. She didn't even mention or say anything about getting a divorce. She still bore his name on all platforms, never came out to bash him. In fact, word had it that YUL Edochie would spend some time with her and her kids, stay some time, then leave, go spend some time with Judy, and back and forth. Shuttling between the two homes. And she kept quiet as he came in and out as he wished. I guess she wanted to give some room to see if he would come back to his senses. 17 years is not 7 years, it's not 7 months, it's not 7 days. That is a long period of time, and a lot of physical and emotional investment must have been done in that marriage. So who would blame her? It must have been so hard to just throw all that away. 4 children were also produced from that marriage. So in her mind's eye, she may have believed that maybe it was a mistake. Maybe he's hypnotized. Maybe. Let me give him some time. Let me pray. Let me see if I can win my husband back. Let me see if he will retrace his steps. And so she held on, clinging to dim hope, even when it got blurry with every passing day. And then 2 things happened that changed everything. The first occurrence was the sad and most unfortunate death of their son, their first son, Kambili Chukwu. YUL and May's first child, Kambili, died mysteriously and suddenly, and Nigerians were thrown into shock and mourning. People believed that that singular incident was supposed to be like a shock back. When a man is thought to be dead and they start to pump his heart and shocks him back to reality, shocks him back to life. People had the impression that that singular incident was supposed to reset the mind of YUL, make him understand the detriments of what he was doing, reignite the bond and the love between him and that boy's mother. People thought that that incident was going to be the beginning of new things in their failing marriage. But the reverse was the case, because that incident launched a series of unexplained and irrational behavior by YUL on social media. Only a few weeks after that child's death, YUL took to social media, dancing and playing and singing karaoke with the other woman, calling themselves names, and people were like, is this the man who just lost his first son of 16 years old? As though that was not enough, through YUL's verified Facebook page, a video of Judy Austin was published. And in that video that seemed every inch like mockery to me, she bragged on how God loves her so much, on how there's nobody in the world that God loves more than her, on how the enemies have been put to shame. And people wondered why YUL should be sharing such insensitive posts only a few weeks after his first wife lost her first son. A point where death couldn't even bring him back to his senses. A lot of people deemed him irredeemable. The second thing that I believe changed the whole narrative in this case was the second woman, Judy, going ahead to bear a second child for YUL. So it wasn't like a one-time mistake. This man has decided to start and carry on the family with this second woman. There was no going back. One child may have been, maybe not, let us take a look at it. But 2 children, his decision was made. He was bent on building and expanding the family with this second woman. So when May realized that this was a lost cause, the hope for reconciliation was an effort in futility. After a few months of mourning her late child, in August of last year, she filed for a divorce from her husband, YUL. Now, aside from the divorce proper, 2 other prayers were asked of the courts by May and her attorneys. First, a restraining order. May asked for an order from the courts restraining YUL from accessing their former marital home, and that was based on the allegation of security and safety concerns. She asserted that YUL's behavior had become erratic and aggressive, so for their safety, YUL should stay away from the house. The second significant thing that was contained in that divorce suit was the 100 million damages that was slammed against Judy for committing adultery with YUL. Now, this is the part that a lot of people didn't understand. This is the part that got a lot of people confused. People wondered why an African man who is in our culture, our tradition, to take more than one wife should be facing any hassles or problems taking another woman, and why that woman should be slammed with any court case at all. Isn't an African man entitled to polygamy? So let me clear this once and for all, because a lot of people have been asking me several questions surrounding this subject. There is one thing that many people do not understand, especially these advocates of polygamy. True, customary laws permit polygamy. Our traditional laws excuse, accept, encourage, promulgate polygamy. Our grandfathers married 10 wives. And men or couples who conducted only traditional marriages, men from such marriages can marry up to 20 wives, even without the endorsement of their wives. But a statutory marriage, a court marriage, prohibits polygamy. Under the Act, marriage is defined as a union between 2 people, excluding all others, excluding every other person. So it is only 2 people that are recognized that can be in a marriage. So not only is polygamy prohibited under the Act, it is criminalized. If you're found being married to another person when you have a subsisting marriage under the Act, that is bigamy, and it comes with a 7-year jail term. That is what the law says. So people wonder, how can you marry that provision of the Act with the existence of the customary law that allows it? Is that not a clash? Is that not a conflict? Is that not a contradiction? What happens in this case where maybe a man is married under the Act and married under traditional law? Which of these laws bind him? Which one overrides the other? I'll tell you. Customary law are valid in Nigeria. Very valid. But valid only to the extent that it does not encroach or contradict a statute. The principle is that if a customary law is in contradiction with the statutory law supersedes and overrides the customary law and takes prevalence, thereby rendering that customary law invalid, null, void, and ultra-vires. Void not in its entirety, but void to the extent of its inconsistency. Permit me, I'm going to break it down. So if this is the customary law, 5 paragraphs, and these 3 does not contravene any statutes, but these other 2 encroaches on the statutory law, it doesn't invalidate all the laws. It only invalidates the 2 that is inconsistent with the statutory law. So that is why it says to the extent of its inconsistency, not the entirety of it. So for your information, do not be driven by ignorance. There is no customary law existing that can ever supersede or be more powerful than a statutory law. Hence, no customary marriage can supersede a legal statutory marriage under the Act. So when a man or woman is wedded under the Act, they are bound to monogamy. Is it making sense now? Do you understand why that boyfriend of yours keeps saying that he does not want court marriage? We are getting to that. So unless that first marriage is dissolved through a divorce. Any other marriage contracted is bigamy, invalid. So whatever YUL and JUDY did during the subsistence of a legal wedding between YUL and May is a circus, and it's ultra-vires. So yes, May is on her right to sue. Suing for a divorce is purely her prerogative. She has a right to choose to or not to choose to. She also has a right, because the law has prescribed it, that you can sue anyone who commits adultery with your spouse for damages. And that is why May has sued JUDY for 100 million naira in damages. That is the punishment. It doesn't come with a jail term or an imprisonment term. It comes with a provision of damages. So from the beginning of this trial, it is reported that YUL and JUDY have been trying to frustrate the trial, the whole proceeding. It was earlier reported that they refused to be served the court process. Of course, when an action is instituted against you in court, the court bailiff is supposed to serve you with the court process, and you are supposed to acknowledge it, that you are now aware that there is a case instituted against you in court. It was reported that YUL and JUDY refused to take cognizance and take receipt of this notice. So I don't know how they were eventually served. I don't know if they were served by substituted means, because the court makes provisions for substituted services where the defendant refused to take service. But eventually, the case has started in court. And now, information getting out is that YUL has denied that he's in any marriage with any other person apart from May. In essence, he has denied his marriage with JUDY. What a wow. And 24 hours after that court case where he denied his marriage to JUDY, he came out brandishing his wedding ring with May, a ring that he had not been putting on for months. And people are like, what is your plan? You don't want to stay, you don't want to leave. You want to eat your cake and have it. So it is important to note that to be held for adultery or bigamy or anything of that sort, there has to be proof of the subsistence of this second marriage. And since there are no pictures from any ceremony, there are no certificates or documents from any marriage that held, JUDY doesn't even bear YUL Edochie's name publicly. One can almost infer that these two are trying so hard to give May a very difficult time in court. So the question is, if this is indeed true, if it is true that YUL denied being married to JUDY, what is the fate of this case? Will this case become automatically frustrated on account of that? Will the suit fail entirely on that ground? Well, in my own opinion, not entirely. I do not think so. I do not think that just by one act of denial, the whole case will come crumbling down like a pack of cards. I think there are a handful of facts that the courts can infer or draw conclusions on, proving that YUL and JUDY took themselves as husband and wife. I think first, clearly, YUL introduced JUDY as his second wife. When they had their first child, he said he introduced the baby as the baby from his second wife. Secondly, cohabitation. Thirdly, having children together. I know these may be debatable because in some cases, people who are not husband and wife can also be found doing all of these. But I think these are also factors that, if well argued, can be relied on. So I do not think that the court will rely solely on YUL's denial to scrap this case. But we'll see how it goes. I'll keep watching and updating you if anything new comes up. But before I close this video, I want to emphasize to everyone watching me on the importance of a court marriage. I have heard some women say, my husband does not like court wedding. My husband said he does not want court wedding, and you are there smiling and shining your teeth. They do not even understand the implications or the protection that the court wedding can give you. Well, I believe that with this situation and what is going on with May and YUL and JUDY, it's self-explanatory. Now you know why he doesn't want one. And that is a big red flag. I don't think any man or woman who doesn't nurse dark or ulterior motives should object to a court wedding. only one who has an ulterior agenda or a very sinister plan will be scared of a court wedding. So listen and listen to me real good. A court wedding will protect you from a lot of mess. It may not necessarily stop it, but at least it would give you some rights of redress, some remedy, some protection. Can you imagine how highly disadvantaged May would have been if she didn't have this backing and covering that came from a court wedding? Do not let anybody deceive you. Insist on what is good for you and go ahead and have a happy marriage, praying that nothing bad happens. But if something does, you can be sure that you are well fortified. So yes guys, I'll keep following up on this case, and I'm going to be bringing to you updates, not just in the interest of following up on that case, but for all the knowledge, all the wisdom that we are deriving from this true life story. So stay glued. And if you're just seeing me for the first time, or if you've been watching without subscribing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, turn on your bell notifications, drop your comments in the comment section, and stay glued because we have so much more coming your way. Don't forget also to download the game that I introduced to you, June's Journey. The festive season is fast approaching and you need something that can just help you relax and enjoy. Download this fun game for free. The link is down in the description box and pinned in the comments section. So guys, this is the end of this video. It's me, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now,